Hello and welcome to episode 65 of the Virtual Velo Podcast. Now we have three, not one person joining us today, but three people joining us today because we have the Aeonian Race Team in the podcast room today. The Aeonian Race Team, founded in September 2020 by Jamie Lee Wright and Karla Williams as a small women's e-racing team with just 5 members. If we fast forward to January 2025, Aeonian has grown into a powerhouse with over 100 riders across elite A, B, C and D categories of racing, competing in 13 different teams on Zwift. Their riders have claimed 2 World Championship titles and multiple world podiums. They're currently leading the Zwift World Series. And beyond the elite ranks, well, the Aeonian teams are racing and winning at every level of esports cycling. Now, with a mission to promote women's cycling for all abilities and across all categories, Aeonian lives by its motto, we are stronger together. And, well, Chris, I think it's clearly working.
I would have to say so, Emma. What makes Aeonian so special is how they've managed to dominate at both the elite and community levels, while staying true to their mission of inclusivity in women's cycling. That balance is rare in cycling esports. We see teams that are either elite or the community, they're rarely able to put them both together, and Aeonian has found a way to do both. I can't wait to hear more about how they've been so successful and supportive and finding out what those secrets are.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome 3 of the Aeonian team here. We have co-founder Karla Williams with us, along with Aeonian committee members Berdien Driscoll and Arielle Verhaaren. Welcome to the Virtual Velo Podcast. We're absolutely thrilled to dive into their journey, the team success, and what's ahead for the Aeonian. Welcome, everybody.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. Hiya.
See, there you go. First challenge, 3 people in the room. Brilliant. Karla, let's kick off, shall we? So, Karla, what first drew you into cycling esports, and what inspired you to start Aeonian? Was there a specific light bulb moment when you realised you wanted to create a cycling esports team?
Well, I really, since the time that I joined Zwift, which was almost 9 years ago, I always felt very driven into the community and racing, because it's really nice to be able to race in a safe environment in your house, especially if you're a mother and you need to balance mother life and your physical and mental health. I was part of a few racing teams before Jamie Lee and I had the idea to create a women's only racing team that is a place where ladies can join from every part of the world and want to be supported and encouraged to each other. So that's why we created Aeonian.
Wow. Was there a core principle or vision or mission behind it around women supporting each other? Or from the go, did you really have a vision or a plan for elite racing and community racing? Or did that develop over time?
No, that developed over time, because when we created Aeonian, we were only 5 members, and our goal was to create a safe environment for people to grow within the sport and develop so they can get some nice racecraft and tactics and be successful. We knew that when we created the team, we obviously didn't have in-game kit. We did everything we could to try to win the Zwift Racing League to promote into the Premier Division, which was at the time giving you an in-game kit. So we thought, okay, let's try to get this so we can get more exposure, maybe attract talent to the team. For myself and Jamie Lee, we wanted to have it as a sisterhood, just to be able to support each other. And no matter what, if you are an elite rider or A, B, C, or D, we all treat everybody the same, and we give the same respect and encouragement throughout.
So as that team has grown, Karla, we've got committee members here, so there's obviously a team structure in place in terms of managing that team, from 5 to over 100. Can you talk us through a little bit about the team's management structure? Is everything run on a voluntary basis? How many people do you have helping out and organising things? How many people do you have in leadership roles in the team?
We have 5 or 6 in the management team. Myself, Jamie Lee, Danielle Strater, she's one of my co-manager on elite side, and she does all the verifications, because when you join Aeonian, you have a form. So we make sure that what equipment you have, we're trying to verify, make sure that everything runs smoothly. And she gets to do the tactics for us as well, for the community and the elite team. And then we have Berdien, which she focuses all what it is, our group rides. So she manages all that. We have another person that checks the sponsorships, which we do have one with the Stolen Gold, which is our team, kit provider. And then we have, through Zwift Racing League, we have captains from each team. So they run and make sure that everything runs smoothly within each team that we have. Yeah, it's not just one. There's no I in team, that's for sure.
Well, that's really great. And Birdie, and I think that I might have seen you at the top of a Cat 6 My Wish Sunday Race Club leaderboard not too long ago. It's obviously a strong commitment to community racing as much as there is to elite racing. And I'd like to just ask you about that from that angle. What has your journey into cycling esports been like, and how do you fit into that structure that Karla was just describing?
So basically, before 2020, I never actually cycled at all. My husband bought me a bicycle and I wasn't using it. And then he said, okay, I'm going to get you a trainer. Maybe you'll use that. And boy, did I use it. So then I started on Zwift, and I found Aeonian. That was where I was supposed to be. And I just went from there, and I've been doing it every week, all the time. Learned so much about cycling. It's just grown from there. I discovered that I'm really competitive, and so I really enjoy the racing. And so I was doing the Zwift racing, and then I thought I'll try my wish as well. I like the Sunday Race Club. It's very hard. Every week is this massive mountain to ride up. I think eventually I'll get stronger and not want to quit, sell everything halfway. Yeah, we'll just keep up with it.
Well, I know that a lot of cycling, and certainly, virtual cycling, has a lot to do with motivation. As the head of the group rides at Aeonian, as Karla described, you probably have to get a lot of people motivated and find out ways to get the multinational, the multicultural, the very diverse team that you have now. What strategies and tools do you use to motivate the membership and to align the goals between racing and the community, and also trying to maintain a social aspect as well?
Well, so for me, for the group rides, basically what I do is I just need to make sure that there's somebody every week to lead a ride. Rides are always different because I also help out Cycling Ireland with their social group ride, which is on Wednesday evenings. And I find the women's ride in the daytime, the people are so much more engaging and chatty, whereas the other rides in the evening are not. People don't chat, they don't say anything, and it's a bit strange. So I must say, personally, I prefer the women-led rides because the women are definitely more engaging. For weekly, we've got the 3 rides every week, one in an American time, a US time, and then we've got a Thursday afternoon one for us, a morning for you guys, which is just a chill 2 watts per kilogram and below ride. And then Friday evenings, we've got one just for ladies, which is like very slow, 1.5 and below for beginner ladies to get them involved. Because in esports and all cycling, I think we need more ladies involved. We make up the least percentage of elite cyclists out there or anywhere.
Can I just say, Berdien, maybe I should have said at the head of the show, actually, there are 4 Aeonian Race Team members here, because I also, too, ride and race for the Aeonian Race Team. And Berdien, one of the things I've been quite surprised at, actually, is sometimes how hesitant riders are to come forward to lead a ride, and actually the level of support that's sometimes required to help people feel comfortable in that ride leader role.
Yes, sometimes, most of the time I find that we have our rota filled up and it's easy and there's always people, but sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get people to step up to the plate and say, I'll be there this week, I'll lead the ride. I don't like nagging people and saying, listen, we have to have someone. That's when I get Karla to step in and say, ladies, please, come on. And then we always find someone. Yes, that's it. People are always free to message me personally if they don't want to ask questions in front of everyone. And I often help them and give them ideas of what to do and how to lead a ride. And it seems to work because it keeps going.
Karla, it's interesting because Bernie there is talking about, that support also in terms of encouraging those women to come forward in leading group rides and those types of things. What about support for wider members of the team? Because you talked a little bit there about Daniela, who does tactics, but not just tactics for elite. There's also the tactics that go through the wider community races as well. So there's obviously some support in terms of tactics and tactical development of racing. What other forms of support do you give the members of Aeonian?
We also try to help them with, sometimes people had issues with the trainers. We have 125 ladies that they do know what they're talking about, and we're trying to help each other or what to do if something happens, who to contact. It's pretty much the support of racecraft and everything that involves with racing, equipment, numbers, data.
Mm-hmm. Other things, so for example, not exclusive to women, of course, but often perhaps more prevalent in cycling esports, may be things to do with weigh-ins or maybe even hormone-related performance factors. We hear about different types of hormone factors through the months, or maybe even, well, I know for one, unfortunately, that whether that's any harassment on social media or those types of things that riders might experience.
We don't tend to have any harassments on social media. I was very clear at the beginning that I prefer if the team or the team members don't engage in any sort of public dispute. I think it's always best to get it resolved between managers. So I am the one who's going, and I'm a very private person, so I wouldn't be going in publicly and say anything. I'd rather just talk to a manager or things like that. But it is weighing videos. We obviously, as you know, we always advise everybody to update their weight before each race. I don't ask for weighing videos apart if they're racing Burica. I think you need to be able to have trust in your team. Apart from elite, that's when you really need to comply with a verification process that Zwift World Series or Grand Prix and all those sort of elite races want that sort of verifications, and I'll do it. And we, myself and Daniela, we just go through all the data and weighing videos and everything to comply with that.
There are certainly other sides to the weigh-in process that come about because there are so many weigh-ins. We talk about disordered eating and the other things to that effect. Do you provide any support for the team or education or identification of those issues, or some things that, like Emma said, they're not necessarily gender specific, but they would be more prevalent on cycling esports where you do have to weigh in and you do have a motivation to be as light as possible, and you might take that to the extreme?
No, really. We've been talking very openly about weigh-in videos and eating disorders. We keep an eye on all our riders that if we think that something is going off, we approach and we take a step back. At the end of the day, Aeonian does this for fun. We just want to have fun, improve ourselves, because the majority of our riders want to take the advantage of winter to have a very good spring, summer, which they race in real life. So my riders are very important in their health as well. So I take that very serious. Fortunately, we have never had any issues within the team that I will say something is wrong, but no, so far everything is going well. That
awareness is a major step in the battle. Arielle, I want to bring you in here because I can obviously tell that integrity is foremost with the team. And I'm sure that there are some members that take it a little bit too far. Does the team have a code of conduct to kind of structure these things so that you have a bit of a guideline? How do you implement that? And does it add value to the team? Does it make everybody aware that there's a standard here and we have to uphold that standard?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a culture within the team. We have, between the community racing and the elite racing, we have different chat where there's a lot of discussion going on prior to the race, following the race, as we debrief. The culture as a whole has been one that's always been very supportive, and it's health first and it's integrity first. And anytime that there's a question, really, Karla and Daniela are fantastic about right away being there to either find the answer to the question, to help us get answers to it. When it comes to verification, if someone got an issue with a trainer or how things work, especially if they're coming on board to the elite racing side for the first time, there's a lot more going on and it's stressful and it's hard. And it's been a very inclusive, supportive experience for me. And before anyone joins the team, they submit a form, they give us some information, and the women all vote on it. So if there are any concerns, usually those will come up before someone comes on board a team based on if we'd heard rumors about prior experience, or maybe this person wasn't the best, or there were rumors circulating potentially about some cheating or some code of ethics or whatever. That all gets vetted before they come on board the team. I would say almost 99 to 100% of the time, there's either a credible reason or we come to an understanding. We find out, okay, this person had a bad trainer for a while, they had a bad whatever it is, that or they don't come on board the team if they can't really meet that standard. So culturally, I think it's within from the community all the way up. Look, we're doing this for fun. We're doing this because we enjoy the community of women that are after it, and we want to all support each other, but we want to do it in the right way too. So, I mean, there's no results that justifies going to extremes that either we deem unhealthy or that we deem to be a little shady.
Yeah, and Aeonian's had some incredible elite level success. Loza Geest winning back-to-back UCI Cycling Esports World Championships 2022-2023. This year, Catherine Fua took bronze in Abu Dhabi. You've also got Zwift Academy finalists Katie Hill, Alex Maurice. You, Arielle, having some amazing performances this season as well. So it's absolutely fabulous to see. You've got such a strong elite squad. You've been at the top of women's esports racing for years. How do you maintain the level of performance? Because Karla, you were also talking about balancing individuals' riders' ambitions, whether that be out on the road in the summer, etc. as well. How do you maintain that strong cycling esports season performance whilst balancing everybody's outdoor expectations and overall goals as well?
It's definitely very tricky. I have a very unconventional story to how I got to where I am, and I won't go into the in depth, but I came from the BMX side. I had a very successful BMX professional career that went into a mountain bike career. Then I started having children. I stumbled upon esports and Zwift because my day job now is being a coach, doing some strength and conditioning work for our USA Cycling Women's Team Pursuit team. And I was seeing, how are they doing this training in the winter, indoors, as I'm trying to complement their gym workout. That's how I discovered Zwift. And at the same time, I had a baby. It's 2020 and the world gets locked down and he has a heart condition. And suddenly I'm looking like, oh, I'm not going to be doing some mountain bike racing and I need to rebuild fitness and I'm inside. So I buy my first trainer and kind of fell into this whole team experience because someone found me racing a USA Cycling Series. That's the only thing I knew at the time. I came on board and the ladies just really brought me in. I was super lonely at the time. So it was such a great experience for me. I am very competitive, obviously, having the background that I do. And I went all in on it and I was tutored and taught by the best in the game, in my opinion. We started to have a lot of success. From there, I bridged on to racing outdoors on the road. So it's kind of funny. I tell people I'm on a pro road team, domestic pro road team here in the US now, but it's because I came from Zwift. I never would have even entertained that idea. It is a lot to balance and manage. And that was one of the things when I came on board with the current team I'm on, is just saying, hey, look, I'm not going to give up the esport because it's a big part of why I'm here in the first place. I think that the winter racing is really good to help develop some of that intensity and keeping sharp for the outdoor season. They comply with it. There's scheduling conflicts, especially in the spring, that gets really difficult and I have to choose. And a lot of times because I'm contracted and getting paid on that side, I have to choose an outdoor race over an indoor race. But for the most part, it's worked out and we just kind of work it into my training. Not everyone has that flexibility and luxury that I do, but we still see Luz comes back and races and Ava is there and Alex raced with us this week on the community side. So these women that are on the women's world tour teams are also kind of dabbling back into it. I think they recognize that it benefits them too. And it's just a matter of picking and choosing what you can fit in where around the outdoor schedule.
I'm listening to all this elite talk and I'm sitting back here and you might feel the same way. I'm a very average amateur. How does it feel being on the team with all these talented racers? Does that motivate you more? Does it motivate your membership more? Is that something that you guys chat about on the group rides? Do you get behind the racers? Does it make you feel better overall about your team and about yourself?
I would say definitely yes. I think it's fantastic. You can ask, in our team, we've got a massive chat for like everyone in the team. You can ask any question, anyone will answer. And very often, like the elite riders and people like Arielle will give you an answer. And it means a lot. And it motivates you and it helps you. And I think it's fantastic. I didn't do anything related to cycling. And then after joining this fantastic team, I feel like I can do anything now. And I've tried as well. Not always such success, but I've tried and it's fantastic. So yeah, it's great.
Arielle, your story is extremely interesting. I've had the privilege of interviewing on a number of occasions. You speak about coming from BMX to cycling esports and then evolving from there to the road. With all of the pre and post verification, with all the weigh-ins, with all the technology, how do you compare cycling esports to the road or to BMX? Is it more demanding and harder to line up for a race indoors than it is outdoors?
I just see them as all different, very different from BMX for sure. BMX is a 30-second effort. And outdoors on the road, it has its own set of challenges in terms of risks, right? You worry about crashing and you worry about temperature and weather and who's showing up. And esports is its own unique bag of stress when it comes to the weigh-ins and the verification. And it's like, you just don't want to mess that up. I find myself, honestly, once the race starts, my stress level comes way down because it's like, now I just go. I got the dual recording started. I've already done my weigh-in. Now I just go race. I find them all just very different. I've even found the esports is like the racing's not the same as it is on the road.
Yeah, no, I certainly can understand how once you turn the pedal for the first time that everything is pretty equal. But getting to that point, I see the demands that athletes have, at the elite level and everything that they have to do. They have to start 2 hours early with the weigh-ins and everything else. Whereas basically you rock up to a race on your road bike and roll up to the line. And am I not seeing that correctly?
Yeah, I don't know. I still get stressed for the outdoor racing. So it's just a different kind of stress. The timeline of having to be ready for esports, and I don't know what the correct answer is. I think that they need verification. Absolutely. I'm fully supportive of it. The 2 hour window is tough. A lot of times, and I'm not the only one dealing with this, but a lot of times it's like, I got to pick my son up from preschool. I got to get back in time to get on the scale in time to then, you're not dumb. You're not going to eat a full lunch right before your weigh-in. So it's like, you want to get your weigh-in done so that then you can eat your lunch. For me, because I'm racing in the middle of the day, you have someone like Vicky Whitlock, who's our Australian team member, and she's got to get up at 4:30, get up and get weighed in to be ready to race. It is stressful and it's hard to know like what the best practice might be. And I think that they're constantly trying to work on that and evolve that. And I'm glad that that's not my job. But yeah, I won't dispute that it's not stressful. I just find them different kinds of stress before the race starts.
It's a really interesting point, actually. We've been asking some questions about the balance in the elite, but actually in the balance between racing outdoors and racing indoors. So many of the times in the last 30 minutes, you guys have talked about balance, whether that's balancing family, balancing childcare, balancing work, and the opportunity that cycling esports gives you to be able to do all those things and still race and be competitive, which I think is really interesting. Karla, beyond running Aeonian, you're also very heavily involved in event organisation on Zwift as well. You're the driving force behind the Warrior Games. I don't know how you find time for everything. Honestly, I don't. So you are indeed, including the Tour de Boudica, which takes place in January. Iceni, which is a month-long series that you've now been running more than once a year. What inspired you to get involved in event management alongside leading a team?
Because I love racing. I absolutely love racing. I just love to provide opportunities for women to have fun. The many people actually attending those events, it just makes me more driven to and more motivated to actually continue delivering these events, which is, I really love it. I really, really love it. I mean,
Yeah.
I do it on my own and it's hard, but you feel very nice afterwards with all the comments and what people think about the event and how it's been. We have you commentating as well, which is a plus. It's lovely. It's really nice. Obviously, as well, have to be thankful that I have a lot of support from people from my team helping me with the designing of some in-game kit for promotion posters. I do have to say thank you to James Bailey, who really helps a lot with. He's been very, very good with supporting the women's racing community and women's community, and the Femme Psycho Collab as well to promoting those events and helping with the broadcast and commentating. And because I think some of them are part of coalition as well. So it's a group of people trying to help and they chip in and trying to make the experience very fun.
There's 48 hours in a working week. How much time do you dedicate to running Aeonian and organising the races?
Yeah, it's a full-time job, definitely. But I really love it. I mean, it's something that It's one of the best things that had happened to me is just build this community. And as I call the team, like sisterhood. You haven't met these ladies at all, but you feel this connection. Some of us have been on the same team for 5 years. And it's 5 years of sharing the ups and downs and things that happen in the bike, off the bike. So it's something that I'm really, really proud, really proud. And it's nice to see that really people enjoy it, being part of the team and how loyal they are, because it's very important for me, loyalty, and they all are very loyal to be in the team. It's very rare that you see somebody leaving. They just really like our house where everybody can chip in and do whatever they want and say whatever they want and communicate, and it's just nice. It's nice.
Talking about that, you've gone from 5 to 120-ish. Any plans for a top ceiling, Karla, on numbers?
I don't want more. I think because the team is, it's not, when we started, we wanted to have only 60 to be covered by each category. The thing is, the majority of the people and the ladies that are part of the team, they are friends of teammates or family members. So it's always somebody, they know that person, and that's how they bring them in. We don't try to steal riders. They just come. It's just talent, they come in and then we develop, and then that's how we have our families. With this said, no, I always said I don't want more riders, and I end up always getting more, because if somebody's recommending a rider, then it's impossible to say no. But no, it's lovely to have such a small team, because it's important for me to know everybody. So you feel like you are a one-to-one rather than, oh, who is this lady? Oh, I don't know this lady. So everybody pretty much knows each other. That's very important. So you can support each person individually on whatever their needs are, depending their goals, they are indoors or outdoors.
I'm going to ask you this, because Aeonian's elite team, which you are part of, you guys are leading the team standings in the Zwift World Series. In fact, I took a little look today. You're leading the team standings by 68 points, which covers the entire top 3 in the equivalent men's standings. So it's a really strong, dominant performance so far this season. Now, the Zwift World Series has been paused. Has this break surprised the team or disrupted the momentum of the team a little bit? What are your plans for when racing resumes? Are you ready and raring to go? What's happened this season, and how is the team feeling about getting back on board and going for it?
Yeah, I have a lot of mixed feelings about the situation. I understand why they wanted to pause it. There were issues with trainers and overreading and trying to get it all figured out. It's disappointing. I was super disappointed because we had great momentum going. I liked the rhythm of every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we're racing, we're competing, and then it was going to be done. So for me, I'm looking at the next couple of races once they kick back off. Again, I have conflicts now. It's springtime. Racing is kicking off here in the US. Yeah, it's disappointing, but at the end of the day, the team as a whole is really happy with what we've done so far, and we're not done. And we'll find a way to make everything work. I'll figure it out on my end as well. And just touching back on the previous question, I don't think Karla gives herself enough credit. That woman is a force, and there's no way that we would even still be going without her. She really is. To that point, she mentioned loyalty. The vast majority of us on the elite team, as it stands, have had offers from other teams to leave, mostly with financial incentives to leave. We don't get paid. We're not getting paid by sponsors to stay on Aeonian, but we're staying for a reason. And I think that speaks a lot to the culture and the community that Karla and Daniela and everyone that's been a part of this management program has provided for us. It wasn't worth it for any of us to leave for a paycheck, and we haven't lost any elite riders to other teams. In fact, we've only ever gained, right? Getting Catherine on board this year was huge. And she came to us. Like Karla said, there's no we're not out there trying to poach people at all. She came to us and was like, hey, we want to ride. She wanted to ride with us. We had a discussion internally within the elite team. Okay, does she fit into the dynamic? What's the vibe going to be like bringing someone like her on, And so that's what's really cool about it. And I can't give Karla enough props for what she does, because she's on top of us in the best way. We need her.
You mentioned having mixed feelings and being disappointed about the pause. And you also said that you understood the reason. Anybody on the team experience any trainer issues, any drift issues, any way that you could confirm the reason for the decision?
So within our team, no. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Daniela, which she hates being called out by name, but the woman, she is so thorough with the verifications, with making sure everything's up to date. She is looking at our dual recordings before there's ever even a race. We're making sure that all of our equipment's in line. I'm lucky that my equipment has worked well. From what I understand, a lot of the issues that were happening were with specific trainers, some of those specific trainers being used with the virtual shifting. But yeah, I mean, thankfully, and knock on wood, because that's the last thing any of us ever want. And I do think that there are some people that are caught up in this, that's not something that they were trying to do willingly to cheat. I don't, it's not my place to really speculate on that either, but we have a very, very thorough verification process well before. Daniela made me go out and like repeat a couple of my efforts, my outdoor efforts. And I was like, dude, come on. Like, I've been doing this for 5 years. She's like, no, so like that's how on top of it she is, like making sure that we are really prior to it even starting, which helps with the headaches down the road because we're not running into these issues. If we're matching outdoors, if our duels are matching up before we ever even race, then we're set up for more success.
Yeah, I have to confirm what Arielle is saying. I use Danny as a resource. She's really on top of it, extremely bright and is extremely knowledgeable. And
Chris,
I trust every word that she says.
Everybody uses her as a resource, whether you're racing in the elite team like Arielle or whether you're racing in the DCAT. I tell you, everybody uses her and she's absolutely brilliant.
I certainly agree.
She is very good. I have to agree as well. And I race in the C and the D teams, and she's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, Arielle, what is your expectation that's going to change before racing resumes?
I don't know. I mean, it sounds like they're trying to figure out the trainer issues with those specific trainers that are having problems. And it sounds like they're also trying to figure out a dual recording system that would be live to be able to see that. We have a Discord chat for the ZWS, and those messages are coming through daily. Zwift is running test events. In fact, today, I think there were a couple of test events where people have the opportunity, especially those that have had issues, to test against, the new systems that they're trying to put in place. And so I'm optimistic that it's going to get sorted out. And at the end of the day, there's always going to be equipment malfunctions, I think, when we're racing from our houses with equipment that is still very much, in my opinion, new. A lot of the stuff that we're racing on, I'm racing on the Shift bike right now, right? Like that just got released. It's just hard to say. Sometimes these things have technology issues the same way that a laptop or a computer or a phone does. And so I think that they're trying to do the best they can. And my hope is that there'll be more clarification moving forward and it'll be a lot easier for people to see and make the changes that need to be made to meet the standards.
Karla, there were a lot of changes, weren't there, around the team competition in the elite teams for Zwift World Series this year. In fact, one of them, you could only nominate 3 riders for the team. The rest had to qualify through the qualification rounds. Was that a difficult decision for the team?
Yes, but luckily there's no decision that is just based or made by me. So it has to be a chat. And also it helped us to know the schedule for each rider. So we gave the one pass to Arielle because we knew that she still had in real life races until October, if I'm correct, Arielle. So I think then that just really made things easier to give a pass to her, a pass to Catherine, and we gave one to Cecilia because she was as well busy. And the rest of the team were very happy to do the qualis beforehand. I think they were some very happy because it gave them an opportunity to test and to see the route prior to the actual race.
Chris, do you know those 3 riders who were handed that decision have not finished outside the top 12?
So I guess Karla knows what she's doing. Well, this is pretty obvious. I'm learning as we're going on here. Arielle, I wanted to switch gears a little bit and ask you a couple of questions going back to BMX. And before I do, I just want to say that in my research today, I learned something that I didn't know, that you were the 3rd woman ever to do a backflip on a BMX bike. That's
many years ago.
That's pretty badass, I just got to tell you. So I want to just kind of make a comparison to the state of cycling esports now and BMX when you started. The UCI recognized BMX as a discipline in 1993. You turned pro 7 years after that in 2000. BMX wasn't even an Olympic sport until 2008. So you began in the relative infancy, and your career paralleled the evolution and development of the sport. Now we look at cycling esports, the UCI recognized in 2019, which was 5 years ago. Do you see any similarities between BMX and cycling esports as it's emerging as a discipline? And are there any lessons that cycling esports could take from BMX as it grows and tries to gain legitimacy?
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool to be a part of that evolution, and we knew years before. I mean, I think they started talking. That was the reason I turned pro at 15 years old, is because around that time in 2000, they're like, okay, yeah, BMX is going to get in the Olympics. And I knew that that was something that I really wanted to be a part of. And so I was very young. I was very young at the time, but I wanted to put my hat in the ring for that. And watching that evolution, there were a lot of kinks that had to get worked out. I was a part of the '08 team as an alternate. I made the London 2012 team. I've been coaching Olympic athletes now since 2013. And so I've seen, as the sport has changed and evolved through the 16 games and through 2020/21 games in Tokyo and in Paris this year, which I was able to attend in person. So it has grown and evolved and developed. And with the iteration of the Olympics being added, BMX changed dramatically from what it was from when I started. As far as the esports go, I see the UCI definitely trying to put a stamp on that and make sure that that is a part of their window. So they've brought it in. We've had the World Championships now for a couple of years, and it's moving platforms. We had it on Zwift for a few years. It's gone to MyWoosh. They had that esports Olympic trials in, where was that? Vicky
Was it
went.
Singapore?
Singapore. That's right. And then, where they brought everyone in. And so, clearly I have also seen that the IOC is really dabbling in esports in general outside of cycling, right? So they're also trying to kind of capture that market, which I think is ultimately what they're after, is viewership. And so I think in order for esports to be successful, it's got to be able to prove to the IOC that people want to watch it. And I will say that watching the World Championships this year and watching the broadcast, the stage, the fanfare, I really loved how they definitely made it look like a show. I think that that's what they're going to have to do if they want to get a part of or become a part of that game, because at the end of the day, it's about money. It's a business. They want people to watch it, to validate it. And so it'll be interesting to see the things that they're going to do moving forward, how that's going to evolve and progress.
Let's just pause at that point, because I'm going to ask each of you, where would you like to see cycling sports go in the future?
I mean, I enjoy watching esports. I think it would be great if it was at the Olympics. I think it would be cool. So that's what I think.
Arielle?
Yeah, I love that I get to race from home. I think that's awesome. But I do think when it comes to premier events, the best of the best need to be brought together, and it needs to be done in the same place at the same time. This might be a little controversial. I don't feel like it belongs in the summer games, but I will support it in the winter games. I think it would be cool to be, because I see it for me as a winter sport. I'm doing it indoors, opposite my outdoor season. I think the Summer Olympics has a lot of outdoor cycling already. So let's bring cycling to the winter, and to the winter games. That would probably be my preference.
Do you know, I've not thought of that. That's a really interesting point.
Mhm.
Huge debate, isn't there, about how, would cyclocross be the cycling sport to bring into the winter games? And everyone's been trialling it on snow, and the World Cups have been doing that deliberately to try and trial it. But actually, you might just have hit the nail on the head.
The Olympic esports games is going to be a standalone game. So whether it's in the summer or the winter, we might not have the ability to make that choice. But hopefully the Olympic esports games is a proof of concept. And then cycling esports does become a medal recognized sport in the traditional Olympics. And if so, then I think that the winter games would be a perfect showcase for that. I do agree with you, Arielle.
Ari said is absolutely right. It'd be nice to have things in real life for big events. For me, I mean, I would love to see a multi-platform competitions. That will be very nice. More team-focused events. That will be something that I would like to see in the future.
Do you think we're lacking team-focused events, Karla, at the moment?
I think, well, if we go towards the elite, yes. I think seeing how things have changed from the past year to now, I think now the focus is a bit more individual than team, which in the past it has always been team-focused competitions. At Aeonian, we love team competitions, so it'd be nice to see that back at some point.
That's my chief complaint with the Zwift World Series, is we've lost a lot of the team component.
Yeah, I would certainly have to agree with that. Berdien, I see you answering these questions and you're kind of beaming. And it really seems like you're proud to be a member of this team. Like I said before, we're both average amateurs at best, right? But we like to be associated and we like to be able to compete and we like to be able to feel like we're on the level playing field with everybody. What would you say is the thing that you're most proud of about being a member of Aeonian?
I really like that we do all these verifications and we've got integrity and kindness, and people are just nice and are uplifting and helping each other. And that's what I feel most proud of. And it's like women for women. We can do it. That's what I like.
I'm going to take you back to the start. If you were starting Aeonian today rather than in 2020, would you do anything differently?
Oh, no. No. It's been a really nice experience. It's just been great. It's been great to, these amazing ladies that they're just so kind and so lovely, and they uplift you and they inspire you, they encourage you and they support you. And it's just, sometimes I feel like I'm dreaming. I can't believe I'm part of this team. Honestly, I can't believe it. We own this team together.
Karla, you created it.
That's the thing is, I might have created the name and the space, but there is no me. The team is all the members. It's not just one person. And I keep saying that over and over again. It's not me. It's everybody who is part of Aeonian. You, Emma, Berdien, Arielle, Daniela, Lizzie, everyone in there is just who made Aeonian what it is right now. It's not me.
Okay, so that's what it is right now. Looking ahead, what's your vision then, Karla, for the future? In 5 years' time, what or where would you like Aeonian to be? Would you like there to be anything different happening?
To be honest, I can't see that much ahead. I'm just trying to focus on the day a day. No, to be honest, I haven't seen that what's going to happen in the future. I hope that we continue, maybe have another podcast in 5 years' time and say, oh yeah, it's 10 years since we founded Aeonian. It'd be lovely. But no, to be honest, I just hope that it remains as it is.
Well, I certainly hope that we get you on before 5 years from now, Carl. And we certainly do appreciate all three of you for joining us. It's a tremendous insight, and I really appreciate it and enjoyed the conversation.
And I think it's a lovely place to leave, thinking that in 10 years' time, Karla, Aeonian will still be out there racing cycling esports across all divisions with exactly the same ethos that you've had for the last 5 years. Thank you ever so much, everybody, for joining us today on the Virtual Velo Podcast. You can subscribe to the Virtual Velo Podcast on your favourite podcast provider and, of course, on YouTube. You can follow me, Emma Martin, on Instagram at biking_Emma and Chris at the Zwift. You can catch me putting words to the action on the Sunday Race Club January final this weekend. And you can head over to thezwift.com and sign up for the bi-monthly newsletter to support independent cycling esports journalism. We have yet more guests waiting in the wings from the world of cycling esports. Joining us, 2028's Nicola Kramer is coming on board, Cycling Canada's Josh Peacock, and as we've mentioned before, several other impactful people waiting in the wings, and we thank them for their patience. Thank you ever so much to the fabulous Aeonian Race Team for joining us today and for sharing their story. Thank you for listening. Take care. Stay safe. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.